Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk About podcast, and this is the third time I've tried this today and Riverside keeps on fucking up and I don't know if this is going to last as long as it can, because apparently I haven't got a good internet connection even though the internet box is right there. So this is the third time. Earlier on I was 20 minutes in and it come up the problem with your internet connection and there was nothing wrong with it, so I tried it again and then it didn't even do the countdown. It just come up. Well, no, sorry, the countdown come in, then the numbers went, and then it come up. So we'll see. That's what happens. And if it don't work, in fuck off the stream yard or something. It's doing my fucking head in. This is a tire. Really is doing my head in. Anyway, that's just politics. Welcome to the Let's Talk About podcast, and thank you very much for listening. Today we're doing part 2 of our catfish special, where last week we did Janelle Potter, where she catfished her dad to go and kill somebody because he didn't fancy her. And this week's another fucked up story with another fucking idiot who catfished himself. Very strange story. So strange that they've actually made documentaries about it and they've made a Lifetime movie. I'm going to go on about Lifetime movies later in my Sunday roast because I need to have a word about that. But yeah, they made a Lifetime movie based on this, and Courtney Cox directed it. He was a directorial debut in 2012 called Tallhotblonde. And that's what the name of this episode is. Talhotblonde, based on a catfishing story featuring 3 people in a love triangle, which we'll get into in a moment. But anyway, we'll get the housekeeping out of the way. Get in touch with me at let's talk about pods@gmail.com. You can get in touch with me to have if you want to have a chat, if you're feeling a bit down, you think you need to talk to somebody. There's always someone there. I'll always answer it and I'll always help in every which way I can. And if you want to give topics for the shows, plenty of topics out there, and I will gladly do anything anybody asks for if I can get into it. And also, if you have any feedback for the show, then please just get in touch. I'm also on Instagram, let's_talk about pods. You can contact me there. I mainly use that. And I uploaded the video last week of Janelle Potter onto YouTube, and it did the thing again where it doesn't show you any photos. So there's me talking and saying, going, oh, there's Janelle Potter. There, she looks like a big man. She's 6'5". She looks like a female Hulk Hogan. Blah blah blah. And no, nothing's there. So I just took the photo down. I thought the video down. I thought, fuck it, it's pointless, stupid. So yeah, so I'm gonna have a go again today. And if it works, it's great. If not, then I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna stop showing pictures because it's fucking pointless. It's making me look stupid, and I don't really need a lot of help to make me look stupid. If you know what I'm saying. Fucking hell with this fucking face anyway. But that's the housekeeping out the way anyway. So get in touch with me. Leave at the bottom of the show, at the end of the notes, leave a comment. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been catfished. I told you last week about the 2 times I did. Let me know what you think about the show, and please leave some feedback. Just leave it in the comments on the show. That's the housekeeping out the way. I'm keeping it short now because it's just pointless to keep saying things. Well, like I will say, subscribe, pass it on to some friends, hit the 5 stars. I think I've got about 20 people now that's given it a 5-star. That's massive for me. And on Instagram now, I've 400 just cleared 450 friends. Friends, fucking honest. That's like Facebook fucking talk when you was like 10 with 15. 450 followers, which is for me, because this is me. This is Let's Talk About podcast. It's just me. I do everything. Very much that I do, but often to talk shit, but it is just me. So for me doing this, and someone turning around as 450 people who are interested in what I'll twaddle come out with, then thank you very much. It really is much appreciated, and I do interact with people on there. If anyone messages me, I'll gladly message them straight back. Anybody wants to have some chat with me, that's fine. Have some chat about anything, whether it's TV, films, Batman, DC, Marvel, Ghost, Paranormal, Alien. I'll chat to anybody about anything. I don't mind at all. I haven't got a life. I just work, come home, be with the kids and be a dad. That's all I do these days. I don't do anything else. So yeah, it'd be great. If anybody wants to do a collaboration, get in touch, and we'll pick an episode and we'll just talk twaddle and see what happens. If anybody wants to come on the show, please let me know. I really would like to do a show with someone, so we can just bounce off each other. It'd be a good fun. That wouldn't. I can have a laugh and just take the piss. And end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's all about having fun. End of the day, and it's all about having fun. That's what Thomas Montgomery wanted to do when he started his online chat room. So we're going to the case now of Talhotblonde, which obviously it's someone's gonna get tits up big time, and it's a fucked up love triangle. So I'm gonna get into it now and see what happens in the story of Tallhotblonde. So I have got some sources for this show this week. The source, I listened to some podcasts. I listened to the Brohio podcast. I listened to Perplexed. I listened to True Crime and Cocktails. I listened to The Criminal Makeup. True Crime and Cocktails, I found them a couple of days ago. And God, their catalogue is really good. Their back catalogue is massive. And their episodes are fucking huge, man. They really do put a lot of work into their episodes. They really do. They very good, and they're very, very informative. They really do know what I'm talking about when they go into the stuff. Very, God, I was very impressed with them, to be honest. Very, very impressed with their stuff. And when I follow them, I'm glad I found them, to be honest, as well, because they are good. And yeah, so there's some stuff. They told me some stuff about this case that I didn't know, to be honest. I mean, I haven't put it in here because I'm not going to pinch their stuff. They did the research; they should do it. But yeah, that was really good. I'm going to have some fun listening to some of their like I've been going for about 200 and some episodes. So yeah, they've got some good cases there, and I'm on for 2.5, 3 hours on some of the cases. Looking forward to doing them. So yeah, True Crime and Cocktails. Very impressed. That's me clapping you. Very well done. Thumbs up as well from me. Give you the 5 stars and feed you a follow. So yeah, this story, True Tallhotblonde. There is loads of documentaries being done about this. If you go on YouTube, type in Talhotblonde, there's loads of it. There's been, I think there was a documentary on Watch or Discovery Channel or something on it. I think it was called Talhotblonde. So yeah, it is pop. You probably, once you get into it, you may have heard of it, what goes on. But yeah, so it's one of them. But the 2012 film Talhotblonde, apparently, because it's one of them Lifetime movies, from what I've heard, it's not the best. But I've not seen it, so I'm not going to comment. But from what they were saying on the True Crime and Cocktails, they watched it and they just started laughing. So that doesn't stand very well, does it really? But it's one of them. It's one of them. But anyway, we've been going back now to 2005. Now, God, that was a good year. Good year that was the year my son was born. My son Ryan was born in 2005. But everything was different then in 2005. I mean, we had common sense. You know, a man was a man and a woman was a woman, if you know what I'm saying. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. Yeah, so we had common sense in the world, and we had just good music. We had some good music, some good films, some good TV. The internet war, as crazy as it is now, you know, it was still in his infancy. So there's no Instagram, there's no Tinder, there's no Snapchat, there's no TikTok. You know, YouTube, it wasn't censored as it is now, where now you have to, everything's censored on YouTube. Back in them days, you know, I remember bum fights being on there. I remember watching that. My mate put it on the once. I was like, what's this? He goes, it's just homeless people beating the shit out of each other. And I was like, I don't really want to see that, to be honest. It's a bit wrong. It felt wrong to me. But yeah, he was on there, and you had the ISIS videos was on there and stuff. Yes, yeah, back in the day, there was some gruesome shit on there back in the day. But now it's obviously a different place. But it's one of them. I mean, 2005. I mean, that's when people was burning CDs. They was going on LimeWire or ISO1, and there was just, you know, there wasn't going out our price or HMV and spending $9.99 on Waking Up the Neighbours or Metallica's Black Album like I did, you know, back in the day, or Bon Jovi, Keep the Faith, or street shit, whatever, stuff like that. Now you go on there, you just download the entire catalogue for that band for free. That was 2005. God, I mean 2005. I used to mix CDs when I used to go and play football. And I used to put CDs in and stuff, you know, there'd be there'd be Metallica and Daughtry, and you know, there'd be stuff what else was on there, Disturbed, and there was just a lot of heavy rock stuff. Paradise Lost, got me into that. You know, there's some heavy stuff. So yeah, that's what we used to do. But if you wanted to connect with strangers, and if you wanted to meet people, but you had you didn't want actually, because back in them days, if you wanted to meet someone, you actually went to a bar and you're like, right, can I buy you a drink? You know? And they'd be like, no, fuck off, you ugly bastard. Or, yes, Dad. So or you had to make an effort, because that's what you had to do back in them days. Or you went onto these like contact magazines, and like you'd send over like I remember back in the day you used to get the bargain pages, and you could they sold everything, cars, TVs, anything, everything was on it. It was like Facebook Marketplace, but it was all Craigslist, but it was in like a bit of paper for like 50 pence, and on the back used to be the contact section where you could like send messages and that to people. So yeah, it was a different place back then, 2005. It was, something. It was a lot better place then than it is now. But I would go back to 2005 like that. So yeah, no problem at all. As long as I can take Lottie and the lucky missus out with me, then I haven't got a problem at all. But yeah, but if you wanted to do something like that, because like it was so still in its infancy, and there's Google about then, because if you wanted internet, you had AOL, which is like America Online. And if you wanted to do anything, you used to go into like MSN chat rooms, and you used to go in there and chat to people and stuff, or you'd be on like internet messenger, and you used to IM people, instant message people. So it was different back then. But in these chat rooms, you can be faceless. You can put on a name. You can put my name is Billy Big Dick, and you can be in there and you could say I'm a millionaire. I've got a 15-inch dick. I've got 33-inch biceps, and I've got a Porsche on my drive. And reality is, you're an ugly fucker who's got a receding hairline and a big massive bald patch. Your dick's about an inch on a good day, and you live with your mum. So it's that you could be anybody you wanted to be back then. On them faceless chat rooms, you could be whoever you wanted to be. Obviously, I've not been on a chat room, so I don't know what it's like. I went on once when I was single. I remember I was talking to a girl who we used to be friends with. He said, go on his chat room. I don't know what it was called. I can't remember what it was. So I clicked on it, and literally it was just dicks and ticks, dicks and tits, and just people shagging, and just all. It was just like, what the fuck? It was like fucking porn near enough. I was like, this is fucked up. He's like, hi, how you doing? And there'd be a picture of his dick. Then it'd be, oh, how you doing? On this, there'd be a woman like frigging herself off, and you'd be like, going, hey, what? I haven't done anything. And it's, I won't have pictures of me or nothing. He was just very strange people, very strange. But like I said, that was back in the day when things were different. But when you're in these faceless chat rooms and the keyboard is the king, that's the danger, you see. That the text-only world, because only you can see that person on this side of the screen, your mind fills the blanks. And your brain can make the person on the other side of the screen be whoever you want them to be. So I'm typing in and a woman says, hi Neil, I think you're gorgeous. And I'll be like, oh, yep, here we are. So I'm in my head straight away now. I'm looking at that thing and I'm thinking, who's that? Let's have a look. Who could it be? Who could it be? Let's have the face. And, oh, it's Sarah Michelle Gellar. Oh yes, I'm in here. The reality is, it's Susan Boyle. It's that kind of sort of thing. So your brain will kick in and make it be whoever you want it to be. And that was the whole point of the faceless chat room. And in the case we're looking at today, 3 people painted a fantasy so vivid, so toxic, and so fucked up. It was just nothing but built on lies that ended up in a cold-blooded execution in a snowy parking lot. This is the story of the Tallhotblonde catfish murder. Tall with a 1L. T-A, so it's Talhotblonde really, but it's easy to say Tallhotblonde. It's a story where almost nobody was who they said there was. And the only person who was entirely honest was the one who ended up dying. So there's a spoiler alert. Our story begins in Clarence, New York, a quiet working class suburb just outside of Buffalo. In 2005, Thomas Montgomery was 46 years old. So let's have a look at Thomas Montgomery, shall we? This is Thomas Montgomery. And here's a picture of him, his wife, and his 2 daughters. His 2 daughters was 12 and 14. So there he is, good old Thomas Montgomery. That's his wife, Cindy. Never said what the daughter's names was, and for perfect, understandable reasons, they blocked out the faces so no one can see them, because at the end of the day, they don't need to be dragged into this shit. So yeah, so that's Thomas and that's Cindy. So you can see he's got his big, massive, thick glasses on. He's got a ginger moustache. He's got ginger hair, and he's really bad receding, and it's like bald in the middle, sort of thing. And he's like he's a chubby bloke, and yeah, he's just, that's Thomas Montgomery. So one day, he had to stay. Well, go back to a little bit, rewind a little bit. He's got his wife Cindy and his 2 daughters, like I just said, and he's got a steady job. He worked as a sheet metal inspector at a factory called Diner Braid. He taught at the local Sunday school, and he helped at his daughter's swimming club. I think he was the president, if I remember right. To his community, he was just a good husband and a good dad, but inside, Thomas was suffocating. He felt invisible, old, and deeply unappreciated. You see, Thomas always wanted to be in the army, especially the Marines. So in the late 1970s, Montgomery joined the US Marine Corps. However, his actual military career was brief, and he was relatively uneventful. He spent 6 years, and during his actual time in service, he never ever saw action. He was just a standard grunt, and that was it really. So he wanted to go in there, he wanted to serve his country. 6 years in, nothing happened. No one knows why he left, but when he did leave, he ended up leaving as a drunk. So while he was drunk, see one thing about Thomas, he's got an addictive personality. So you need to remember this. He gets addicted to a lot of stuff. So once he finds something that he likes, he gets addicted to it. You want to be in the army, you got addicted to it, you did it, come out. You hit the beer, got addicted to it, got an alcohol problem, become a pisshead, he got addicted to it. So he met Cindy, and once he met Cindy, he said, I need to fix this shit and get myself sorted. And fair play to him, he did. And he became sober, all for his wife, Cindy. And obviously later on they had 2 children. Another thing about Thomas, his marriage to Cindy was not exactly in a very good place. They had been married for 16 years, but the marriage had gone stale. He lacked emotional closeness. The marriage had become a sexless marriage, with Thomas being diagnosed with impotency. So that basically his dick don't work. But Thomas's obsession would now focus on something new. Thomas became addicted to playing poker, especially on the website Pogo. I've never heard of that website in my entire life, so I don't know what that is. Maybe an American thing, I don't know, I'm not sure. 2005, was I on the internet in 2005? Yeah, I was. That was when I bought this house. So yeah, that 2005 was the year I actually got internet for the very first time. And I remember I got my internet I went to Asda, and I brought a PC for 99 quid. And it was a PC, a tower, mouse, keyboard, a lot from Curry's. And I got one of them AOL discs where you get like 28 days free internet. You put it into your CD drive and you load it up. Yeah, I remember that. And I'm sure Joanna Lumley used to do the voice for AOL. And when you went onto something, you had to ask Jeeves to find stuff for you. That was 2005. Yeah, it was 2005. Pogo was not just a poker site. It did all sorts of games, from poker to blackjack and all other types of web games. But what else Pogo did, it gave you access to chat rooms where you could chat shit to a stranger about anything and everything. So Thomas built an escape hatch. He logged on to AOL and created a screen name, Marine Sniper. Under this handle, Thomas wasn't a middle-aged factory worker with thinning hair, a dad bod, a dodgy tash and a dick that don't work, with a big ginger bush and a mortgage. He was Tommy Jr., an athletic, 18-year-old Marine, getting ready to be deployed to Iraq to fight for the country he loved. In one of those chat rooms, Tommy met a user named Tallhotblonde. According to her profile, her name was Jessie. She was an 18-year-old senior from West Virginia. She was very, very sporty, gorgeous, blonde, and with a body like a model. So we'll have a look. I've got a photo of Jessie here. So we've looked at Thomas, and now we're going to have a look at Jessie. So this is Jessie. Here we go. That is Jessie. I've got to admit, she's a good-looking girl. You cannot fault her. She is a good-looking girl. But she reminds me, if you watch these like American TV shows like 13 Reasons Why or something like that. She's the typical blonde girl that's in one of them TV shows. That's what she reminds me of. So yeah, but she's a very attractive girl. There's no two ways about it. She's a very attractive girl. But of course, she's 18, and Thomas Montgomery's 47. So there, she seems like she would fit perfectly in like Legally Blonde or Buffy the Vampire Slayer or 10 Things I Hate About You. Well, she's all that. She looks like a kind of girl that would fit perfectly in one of those kind of films. Like I said, she is an attractive woman. So you can't lie. No two ways about it. So what she did, she then saw Thomas, and obviously because he made his profile, and he come up Marine Sniper, and he said his age 47. Then she would turn around and say, "Excuse me, you do realise you're in a teen chat room? I think it's best if you can fuck off." Or words to those sort of thing. And he's like, no, it's okay. Thomas had to think on his feet. What can I do? Because he knew people used to do these like catch the predator stings. He thought, I don't want to be caught on one of these. I need to do something. This woman is beautiful. How can I impress her? So he tells her, he goes, I'm not an old man. I've logged onto my dad's profile by accident. And my name is Tommy Jr. Jessie asked him to describe himself. He said, if you really am Tommy Jr. and you're not a 47-year-old man, then explain yourself and show me. So he said, I'm an 18-year-old battle-scarred Marine, and I'm ready to be deployed for war. I'm muscly, ripped, got a six-pack. I'm a martial arts expert with a black belt in karate. I have $2 million in the bank. I look like a red-haired Harrison Ford, and I've got a big, thick 9-inch cock. Jessie wasn't sure. She liked what she heard, but she couldn't believe it, so she asked for a photo to prove who he was. Again, Thomas Montgomery needed to think on his feet. So he found an old photo of a chiseled jaw, uniformed 18-year-old Marine from when back in the day, from when he was a Marine. So he sent her this photo, and this is actually a photo of his Marine photo. So there's Thomas Montgomery now, the 47-year-old limp dick fucker with a bald head, and that was him when he was 18, when he was part of the military corps and doing the Marines. So that was the pic. That was, they sent this picture. He just sent that picture in his uniform. So once he sent that picture, oh, Jessie loved it. She went as wet as a tap. So yeah, she absolutely loved it. She was, oh, thank you very much for sharing that picture. Oh, you really do look stunning. She asked the question, why did you join the Marines? Again, Thomas Senior, who had never been in this sort of a situation before, he had to think quick. He replied, he joined the Marines because he had nothing to live for, and he wanted to die. As his mom had died from cancer, he had no one who he could relate to, and he did a very bad thing. Jessie was curious, and she asked what that bad thing was. Why he turned round and says this, I have not got a fucking clue. I think he said this because he didn't want to get lured into it. So I think he was trying to like push her away more than anything. So he said, when he was 17, he raped a cheerleader. And he felt like the only way he could right this wrong was to die fighting for his country on the front line. This didn't scare Jessie like it would any other woman. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a woman and a stranger on the internet turns around and says, I raped a woman and I want to go and join the army, if that doesn't scare you and you press block, then there's something wrong with you. But with Jessie, he did the opposite. He made her even more wetter. I bet her nipples were sticking out like coat hangers. God, I bet her was soaked. Because Jessie was hooked. She liked what she saw. She liked what she heard. And she wanted more of Tommy Jr. She wanted a lot more of Tommy Jr. Jessie replied by sending photos of herself, and together, online fireworks went off. And it was that sort of a relationship. Online doves started flying, and I'm sure Celine Dion was probably playing in the background, Think Twice. These were some of the photos that she sent him. So she sent him this photo, and this photo was the one that got him going really bad. So he loved this photo. So to be honest, that photo, I think she looks like Jennifer Aniston in the very, the early years of Friends. She's got a very, very Jennifer Aniston look. She really does. She's lying down there with a green, like, it looks like a tight top of her chest, and she's lying down with her hand above her head. She is an attractive girl. You can't lie about it. I can understand why Thomas Montgomery fell for her. Really, it's pretty obvious. So the problem was the photo Jessie saw wasn't Tommy Jr. It was Thomas Montgomery. He was 18 in his Marine uniform. So now he has to become Tommy Jr., the 18-year-old Marine. Not the 47-year-old dad, husband. He's got to be, when he goes online now under the name Marine Sniper, he has to carry on this persona, this character that he's created, Tommy Jr. Over the course of more than a year, the two exchanged thousands of pages of chat transcripts. For Thomas, this wasn't just a distraction anymore, it was an addiction. He was deeply in love with an 18-year-old girl, and she was in love with the hero he pretended to be. They wrote emotional, dramatic messages, reminiscent of high school sweethearts. It even got one message, even Tommy proposed, and Jessie even accepted. He sent her flowers and poems, and she would send him G-strings and dog tags engraved with the message, Tom and Jessie, always and forever. Jessie worried constantly about Tommy's safety, writing, I know you're being careful, honey, and you have the best with you, but I also know anything can happen. Can you imagine if that was from round here? Like, right, babe, I know you're being careful, hon, and then you've got them best blokes with you, but anything can happen. So can I have all your passwords for your internet? Can I have your bank details? And you have got a life insurance, haven't you? Because I want to carry on playing, Candy Crush. I'm on level 463. Yeah. Anticipating his return from Iraq, Jessie planned for their first night together, expressing nerves about what would be her first time. You see, Jessie was a virgin, an 18-year-old virgin, and Tommy, not Tommy Jr. See, you're going to get confused here, because if I say Tommy Jr., that's the fake persona. If I say Thomas, that's the limp dick gingerhead fucker. So Thomas loved the fact that Jessie was a virgin, and he just constantly kept on going on to her about how he was going to pop a cherry. He loved saying that to her. He used to get off on saying that, I'm going to pop your cherry. So the idea of him being her first really did turn him on. And she even replied one day in a note, it won't be long until it's Jessica Blair Montgomery. So, this is, after a couple of years, this is getting pretty serious. Because what he used to do, he used to turn around and say he was being deployed for battle. And he wouldn't go on for hours, like days, and that used to scare her, sort of thing, and she didn't realise what was going on, but it was all part of a plan, a big massive plan. So I think when he was at work, his brain must have, because he was obsessed with her, so he was thinking about that 24/7. So he must have been thinking all the ways he can carry on this persona and just live out this fantasy, really. Montgomery was consumed by his marathon online chats with Jessie. At work, he didn't stop talking about her, telling colleagues that he planned to leave his wife and move to West Virginia. In the evening, he would chase his daughters off the computer, planting himself in front of the screen late into the night. Cindy could not compete with his new obsession. Thomas took the lie to extreme lengths. He would write agonising messages about the fear of being deployed to Iraq. He would log off for days pretending he was in transit or on active duty, leaving Jessie in suspense, only to return with dramatic stories of a fictional military life. He used to make stories up about things that had happened and things that he'd done, just so he could pretend and keep this big charade up. The chats rapidly shifted from romantic poetry to explicit cybersex. Now, when I'm talking cybersex, I'm talking filthy cybersex. The dirtiest chat you could think of. So, there is transcripts. Now, I looked for some of them and I couldn't find them, but the other podcasts that listened to them, they said they am out there, and they read them, and they said we've read the transcripts, and they am absolutely pure filth, to the point where like it's not even like porn filth. It's like this is just perverted taboo shit sort of thing. So yeah, so basically he's a really, really horny bloke, and she's an 18-year-old who's never had sex. So their imagination must be like really, really like just exploding really. She doesn't know what to expect. He knows what he can do. So, well, I don't think Cindy says that, because like I said, yeah, he's been shagging for a very long time. So basically he's as horny as a fucking teenager who watched Babe Station on a 10-minute Freeview back in the day. They would just talk for hours about things they were going to do to each other. Thomas Jr. even referred to his big 9-inch thick cock as a snake, and Jessie's virgin pussy was a West Virginia fox. Now, I'm not being funny. That kind of shit don't turn me on. I got my big thick snake and I'm going to put it in your West Virginia fox. Don't exactly does it for anybody, does it really, that? So the last time I seen a fox and a snake together was when I watched the Gruffalo. So fuck knows where he got that from. Surely it would have been easier if he called it a pussy instead of a fox. I don't know. Strange. In fact, Thomas got off on the fact that Jessie was a virgin and he could not wait to be her first man, like I said earlier. She kept on sending more G-strings. Now, these was probably worn stinky as fuck, and he was probably fucking sniffing them and doing God knows what to them. Oh God, just stinky. It's fucking disgusting. And she even asked him if she could take her virginity, but before she could take a real virginity, would he take her cyber virginity? Thomas was more than happy to do so. You see, Thomas's broken tiny dick started working again slowly. So while he's knocking one off over her stinky fucking underwear, but he's got fucking skidders and all sorts in, he would be telling her how he could not wait to meet up in real life so they could do this for real. But a house of cards cannot stand forever. I mean a drink. Sorry about that. By 2006, Thomas's real life and his fake life were on a big, massive collision course. Because he was so obsessed with Tallhotblonde, aka Jessie, Thomas made a critical, sloppy mistake. You see, every time Jessie would send Thomas a parcel, it was always arranged by Thomas that every package she sends had to be sent to his dad. So when they was doing the chats and they was talking, and she was sending her, like, you know, her underwear and stuff, Tommy Jr. would say, if you send your parcels to my dad, he can pass them on to me, because my dad used to be a Marine, and because he used to be a Marine, he's got war clearance and he knows the actual address of where I'm based and where I've been deployed to. So only he knows where to send the parcels. But always make sure you send it to Thomas Montgomery. Don't send it to Tommy Jr., because you can't risk the fact that someone might know where I am, or someone might know where my family is. So if you send it to Thomas Montgomery, my dad, who is Thomas Montgomery, will pick up the package and he will send it to me over in Iraq. Good old Tommy Jr. So Jessie would send the parcels to Thomas Montgomery. He could pass them on to Tommy Jr. and everything was all happy. But Jessie mailed a surprise package one day and she forgot to put Thomas Montgomery. Instead, she put Tommy Jr. That afternoon, Thomas Montgomery's wife, Cindy, intercepted one of those packages. When receiving the parcel, she asked herself the question, why is a parcel sent to my address but to someone called Tommy Jr.? Now, don't forget, they've got no sons. They've only got 2 girls. So who the fuck is Tommy Jr.? Curiously, she opened it to find a handwritten love letter and more worn stinky G-strings and other lingerie from an 18-year-old girl. Cindy was devastated. She was also incredibly angry. She left home and she also left Thomas Sr., aka Thomas Montgomery, a note. What I can't believe is that you are living out some bizarre fantasy as father and son. If you want to separate, we can. But to continue to lie to me and the kids while she is sending your son gifts in the mail is not acceptable. You can't blame her, can you? At the end of the day, I mean, she's sending love notes and photos and underwear, and she's an 18-year-old girl. Like I said, his daughters, I think, was around 12 and 14 at the time. So, you know, yeah, it's, you know, if your marriage is fucked up, you have a chat and you sit down and you talk it out and you have an heart to heart. So, but what Cindy did, Cindy's clever, you see. She did some digging. She found the return address in West Virginia. So, she wrote Jessie a letter back. She wrote, "Let me introduce you to these people. This is my husband, Thomas. These are my daughters, 12 and 14 years old. And this is myself. I'm Cindy." The C in Montgomery's email address, TC Montgomery1. There is no son. He is my husband, a 46-year-old former Marine. From what I am pulling from your letters, you are much closer to my daughter's age than mine, let alone Tom's. Are you over the age of 18? In this alone, he can be prosecuted as a child predator. Do not trust words on a computer. Along with the letter, Cindy enclosed a family portrait, a picture of the real Thomas Montgomery, balding, wearing glasses, standing next to his wife and kids. That would be the photo that I showed you earlier. That would be this photo. So she sent Jessie this photo. So yep, this is the real Thomas Montgomery, not the one he's been portraying. You've been lied to. You have been catfished. So the discovery of the parcel shattered whatever normalcy remained in the Montgomery household. After Cindy discovered the truth, the marriage was effectively over. She wrote and left Thomas a note saying, "What I can't believe is that you are living out some bizarre fantasy. If you want to separate, we can. But to continue to lie to me and the kids while she's sending your son gifts is not acceptable, and this cannot carry on." They initially continued to live in the same house due to the financial ramifications if he moved out, so Thomas was completely exiled to the basement. The couple's daughters were forced to watch their father completely deteriorate. He went from being an active parent and what's the word? Stature of the community. He used to walk his family dog and he volunteered at the local swimming club. He was a perfect neighbour, perfect person in the community. But now he's a paranoid, hostile stranger, living in their basement, sitting in his underwear, shit-stained pants, obsessed and addicted to his computer screen. You can imagine him, Cole, you doing that. So he's down in the basement now. He's got his PC tower down there and his monitor. He's probably just sitting there in just his big, dirty, shit-stained pants on the screen, look at the pictures, wanking himself off of his thumb and finger, typing with his other hand. You can imagine it. To show how far Thomas Sr. was obsessed and gone, at work in his locker, a letter was found saying, "On the 2nd of January 2006, Thomas Montgomery, 46 years old, ceases to exist and is replaced by an 18-year-old battle-scarred Marine. He is moving to West Virginia to be with the love of his life. He vowed that he would set aside enough of his imaginary millions to care for Cindy and the girls, even as the fantasy of the life he would build with Jessie." He finished the letter with, "I wish I would know the exact time I would change to the new Tom to prepare for it." When Jessie received that letter from Cindy, her fantasy world shattered as well, or at least that is what Thomas thought. Desperate and humiliated, Thomas logged straight back on. He confessed to her. He admitted he wasn't an 18-year-old Marine. He begged for her forgiveness. He expected the worst, and to Thomas, the worst was for her to block him forever. But she didn't. Instead, Jessie expressed anger, but she didn't cut him off completely. She kept talking to him. However, the dynamic had shifted. The online community soon found out, and the big lie was revealed. People shunned him and teased him and made fun of him. But Jessie, she was no longer his doting, submissive girlfriend. She began to taunt him, flirt with other people, and push his buttons. And that is when Brian Beefcake Barrett walked into the crosshairs. Brian Barrett was 22 years old, and here is Brian. Here he is. Coming up now. There he is. He's a good looking lad. He reminds me of, if you watch the American soap like Beverly Hills 90210 and them sort of programs, he'd be like the quarterback, like the jock sort of thing. You know, he seems like, you know, the one that everyone likes. Saved by the Bell. He'd be like perfect, like in Saved by the Bell. Yeah, that's Brian Beefcake. And here's another picture of him with his cat. So there he is. So that cat's exactly like my missus' mum's cat. But yeah, that's him. Seems just like a typical 22-year-old American. That's what it looks like, really. If you said explain a 22-year-old American, that's probably what I'd turn around and say he looked like. So yeah, so that's Brian Beefcake Barrett. He was a sweet, athletic, hard-working college student who worked the night shift at the Dynabrade factory where Thomas worked. This was so he could pay his tuition. He was popular, genuinely kind, physically fit, and a real person. His co-workers nicknamed him Beefcake, which also happened to be his online screen name. Brian even sat near to Thomas, each other at dinner time. They chatted and got on well, and some people say Brian even looked at Thomas as a mentor. Thomas had occasionally mentioned his online friend Jessie to Brian. In fact, he used to brag about how he had an 18-year-old lover. So when one day Talhotblonde popped up on Brian's pogo, Brian straight away worked out who he was. You see, to get back at Tommy Jr., she knew Thomas, now it's Thomas Sr. Jessie remembered he mentioned a friend that popped on pogo who he worked with, Beefcake 1572, aka Brian Barrett. So Jessie looked for him, and as soon as she saw the name Beefcake, she knew that was the guy that Thomas was on about. So straight away she started messaging him. She started asking questions, started getting friendly, and it all started off very innocent. But very, very quickly he started getting a little bit darker. When Barrett confirmed his friend's trickery and his catfishing, Jessie was devastated. How could everything be a nothing? She turned to Barrett for solace, instant messaging him on Yahoo. Fuck me, Yahoo, that takes me back. Their conversations quickly turned intimate. And again, the dirty, filthy cybersex started. And Beefcake Brian, just like Thomas, was hooked on Jessie. So she likes doing this, doesn't she? For a virgin, she's very, very... Well, what's the word? Promiscuous is the word? Is it one where she's very, very forward instead of going backwards, if you know what I'm saying. But one thing that she did do, all the photos that she was sending Beefcake was the photos that she'd sent Thomas. And Thomas hated that. Because Beefcake would show Thomas the pictures, and Thomas was like, fucking hell, that's the ones, they belong to me. Because Thomas saw Jessie as like an object that belonged to him. And that was like one of the big problems. In public forums online, she and Brian called Thomas Sr. a child predator and taunted him. She even shared her passwords with Brian, who would log on, pretending to be Jessie in her accounts, and troll and abuse Thomas and humiliate him. At work, Barrett boasted about his new relationship with Jessie, and this made Thomas Sr. furious. He would even brag about travelling to West Virginia, booking a holiday in and taking a virginity. This was the final straw. This sent Thomas through the roof with rage. Barrett would tell Jessie, half the company thought he was a fucking loser and a predator. After everything had come out, parents no longer trusted Thomas Sr. with their kids. Thomas Sr. had had enough. He even thought about contemplating suicide. He logged onto instant message once more. You can say goodbye forever to me and Tommy, he sent as a message to Jessie. Despite her own anger, Jessie couldn't turn her back completely on Montgomery. He was all that remained of her long-lost Tommy. After all, she sent a message. If Tommy Jr. existed, I would still be holding him every night and sharing dreams with him. I ache to be with Tommy, she told Montgomery, noting that the 18-year-old existed in Montgomery's continued love for her. Jessie promised Montgomery she would stop talking to Barrett, saying she took up with him mainly to get revenge on Thomas for his lies. Despite her promises, Jessie continued her romance with Barrett. Their sessions often ended with Barrett typing one-handed, I wonder what that was for, dirty bastard, while Jessie urged him on with comments like, can I kiss something long and hard? Dirty bitch. You see, unlike Thomas, Brian was exactly who he said he was. He said he was a genuine, good-looking 20-year-old buff guy. And he was. Jessie is a stunning, beautiful 18-year-old woman. Now she knows Thomas Sr. is a balding 47-year-old fat bloke with a moustache. Beefcake Brian was exactly what she was looking for. She even told Thomas he likes sports. He likes sports, and he's closer to my age. He's also not a liar like you are. But Jessie didn't stop talking to Thomas or Brian. Instead, she played them against each other. She would message Thomas chats like this. So I'm going to do the chat now. I've managed to get one of the chats. So I'm going to have to do both voices. So, I hate to be with Tommy. Do you miss it, Tom? Oh, sorry, I did that the wrong way. Start again. I hate to be with Tommy. Do you miss it, Tom? More than you will ever know. My heart aches to hear you call me Tommy. I wish I could be that 19-year-old Marine for you. I know, Tom. Coming for you to run away with him. Oh my God. But then later, after speaking to Brian, he would brag to Thomas about how her handsome young Brian was a payback for hurting her. She would send Thomas transcripts of her flirty chats with Brian. And again, apparently these are online, but I couldn't find them. But if I look for them, I suppose you could. I found that one little bit there. And when I listened to the Bro High podcast, they had some more as well. I don't know where they got it from. But one of the main things that I used for my research, as well as listening to some podcasts that I mentioned, if you type in The Guardian cease to exist, a lot of the stuff I've written for this podcast have actually come from there. They've got a big, massive section on this, and it's fucking huge. And yeah, so they've got photos on there and stuff and everything as well. And if you do want to have a good read of something, instead of listening to me fucking waffle on and talking a load of bollocks, then look up Cease to Exist on the Guardian newspaper. Cease to Exist from what was the date? It was issued in Sunday the 18th of November 2007. So if that helps you, then look that up. So yeah, so basically now she's playing them both. She's being naughty. She's flirting and doing all sorts of things with Thomas. And then she's talking to Brian and saying, oh, I spoke to Thomas and we did this and we did that, blah, 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 laughing and joking. And then she would send Thomas like the chats that they've had and sort of things that her and Brian have had just to make him jealous. And yeah, that's very, very naughty. At the factory, Brian, completely unaware of how deeply obsessed Thomas was, he began talking openly at work about his awesome girl Jessie. And soon he was even declaring his love for her. Barrett and Jessie went public. They posted about each other in their online profiles on MySpace as in a relationship. She thought she could do this because Thomas Montgomery was not on MySpace. Little did she know, he found her. As expected, Thomas Sr. noticed immediately. He sent her a message. "I can't believe you chose her over our friendship," he told Barrett. Oh, he messaged Barrett, sorry. "You want her? You got her. Just tell her to leave me alone," he told Barrett. For Thomas, this was a psychological slow burn torture. He had to sit at his desk watching a younger, better looking man live out the romance that he believed belonged to him. His jealousy curled into a dark, violent obsession. Thomas Sr. started training, and he was training hard. He hit the road every morning, running 5 miles. He was hitting the gym every single day. One day he messaged Jessie out of the blue. "I started training again. For war." Jessie messaged back saying she missed Tommy and said never let Tommy Jr. die, and could they still just be friends. Thomas agreed under one condition: no lies. Otherwise, she would lose something very close to her. He said to her, I haven't got it on here. I heard it the other day. What was it said? "I am the ultimate weapon. I am a Marine." That was what he told her. "I'm an ultimate weapon. I'm a Marine." I started messaging again, but the jealousy and the knowing she was messaging and cybersexing Brian and other men, because it wasn't only just them two as well. She actually grew it was like a portfolio of blokes she was cyber fucking. This pushed Thomas's affection over the edge. The thought that Jessie's online boyfriends were having what he thought was his was not acceptable to him. He repeatedly threatened to post Jessie's home address online so that I'm not saying it's the N-word, could find her easily. He'd love it when all those N-words raped her. He began sending threatening messages to Brian under his Marine Sniper alias, warning him to stay away from Jessie. Brian was creeped out, but he figured it was just an online troll. The messages started getting more aggressive and more personal, saying, "Go and fuck the virgin whore, pop that bitch's cherry." He then started to send messages threatening Jessie. Brian showed Jessie the messages, and they scared her that much that she showed her mother Mary. Mary was furious, and she immediately got in touch with Thomas and told him to leave her daughter alone, which Thomas agreed, as long as she stayed away from him. He even said, "Make sure you reciprocate this request to your daughter." This truce played out well for a month. Brian went on holiday. Jessie sent Thomas a message. Thomas replied back, "Your mother told you not to message me." "It can be our secret and she will never know," she replied back. But as usual, it didn't take long for the nice and friendly messages to fade away, and the jealousy and the narcissism soon took over. Thomas could not handle the fact he could not have Jessie all to himself. So she agreed to stay away from him. Her mom said don't talk to him. She said okay. Brian goes on holiday, and she goes straight back to Thomas. She just loves. She's craving the attention. Basically, she's loving the attention. Now, don't forget, they have never ever met in real life. This is all over the computer. This is all online. This is all just photos being sent to each other, keyboards being bashed away, dicks being wanked stupid over underwear. That's all it was. There was never no face-to-face meeting at this moment. Everything was all online. Jessie had a plan. She started using MySpace to talk to Brian. "Brian, if we use this, Thomas won't know when we're here. We could showcase our love for each other." Jessie told Thomas she was deleting her account, and that started a tornado of abuse from Thomas. So now basically he knows that he's losing her. He doesn't know that he's losing her to MySpace, but he knows that she's going away. He constantly called her a whore and used the M word over and over, and just sick, disgusting messages after message. Apparently these messages are online as well, but I didn't find them. On the 13th of September 2006, he messaged her at 1:33 a.m, telling her, "You're a whore, and that's all you'll ever be." She wrote back, "I'm leaving now," and signed off. Thomas Sr. sent her several more messages throughout the day, to her no response. The next day, he pinged her again. "Hey, whore, you suck your BF Brian today?" The white instant window stared back at him. The following morning, on the 15th of September, he called her, waking her up. He was screaming and rambling. Just ramble stuff that just didn't make any sense. It was just uncontrollable rage down a phone. So they've obviously swapped phone numbers. And she said it was that much of an uncontrollable rage, she hung up. So, I mean, what time was that? That was on the 15th of September. He woke her up, so he must have probably finished a night shift, and he just found her. She's answered the phone. "Hi." He's like, "Fucking bitch, you motherfucking whore. Fuck you, you fucking slut." And she's like, just carried on in this complete nutter like fucking shit show, and she's hung up. By mid-September, Thomas Montgomery had completely lost the plot. His wife had started divorce proceedings. His fantasy was gone. He was consumed by hatred for Brian Barrett. On the evening of September the 15th, 2006, both Thomas and Brian were working the late shift at Diner Braid. Around 10 p.m, the shift ended. Brian said goodnight to his co-workers, clocked out on the Friday, so he had all weekend to look forward to, walked out into the cool, dark parking lot and climbed into the driver's seat of his pickup truck. He put the keys in the ignition. He never got to turn the key. Out of the shadows of the parking lot stepped a figure dressed head to toe in camouflage and a ski mask. The figure carried a .30 caliber rifle. Brian Barrett was shot 3 times at close range through the window of his truck. Twice in the neck, once in the arm. He died almost instantly. The shooter quietly slipped back into the darkness. But because the truck was parked in an isolated dark corner of the factory, and it was a Friday night shift, Brian's body wasn't discovered until 2 days later on the Monday morning, when a co-worker noted his truck hadn't moved. When police found Brian, they were baffled. He was a clean-cut college kid with no criminal ties, no debts, no enemies, so who would want to kill Brian? Investigators recovered shell casings from the rifle used to shoot Brian through his truck window. Thomas Montgomery had been waiting and stalking out the parking lot in his truck before the murder. While stalking Brian, he sat in his vehicle, eating peaches and spitting the pips out of the window. The peach pips left at the scene provided crucial forensic evidence, as police were able to extract Montgomery's DNA from them, directly locking him into the physical location of the crime scene. But what really blew the case open was when investigators opened his computer. They found the digital trail and the catfishing. They saw the messages from Marine Sniper. They saw the jealousy, the threats, and the mutual connection to Tallhotblonde. Police rang Jessie to confirm they were in a relationship, and that she might be in danger, which she confirmed. Police were able to get her the address of Jessie, and they sent over a local West Virginian police officer to tell her what had happened to Brian, and that they were actually concerned for her safety. So don't forget, Thomas Montgomery was from New York, if I remember right. I think it was New York he lived. Where was it? Where did he live? Let me have a look. I'm sure it was New York. Have I got it down on here? No, I haven't got it from here. Have I? Oh no, I thought I had it on here. Oh yes, New York. Just outside Buffalo. And she lives in West Virginia. I'm sure that's where they always go after Bigfoot. So, yeah, so they obviously not going to go and go around there. So they turn around, phone someone, and said, can you go and do a welfare check and make sure that she's okay? We phoned her, we spoke to her on the phone, and she has confirmed that they are a couple, but we need to make sure that this fucking nutcase ain't gone over and followed her and tried to find her. So when they arrived at the West Virginia home and knocked the door, Jessie's mom, Mary, answered the door. When asked if Jessie was home, she said she had gone away for the weekend and that she had no way of contacting her. The police officers immediately felt something was off, as a few hours previous they had spoken to her on the phone. The officers continued to ask questions, and the more questions they asked, the more agitated and nervous she became. That was when she admitted that she was Jessie. Mary Schuyler had stolen her own teenage daughter's photos, her identity, and her youth to create the Tallhotblonde persona. Mary was the one who had spent hours flirting with Thomas. Mary was the one who sent her daughter's photos and lingerie and G-strings and everything else and who knows what to a stranger's house she had only ever spoken to on the internet. And Mary was the one, out of boredom and malice, had seduced a 22-year-old Brian Barrett and played him against Thomas until it was fatal. So, what does this Mary look like then? So, should we have a look, see what Mary looks like? At the end of the day, I mean, does the apple fall far from the tree? You know, Talhotblonde's a good-looking woman, so maybe her mummy's. And here she is. That's the real Jessie, as we've seen in the photos I showed you, and that there is the mom, Mary, aka Jessie. What the fuck? Let's have a closer look at that one. Here's a closer look. I'll crop the photo so you can have a look at that in all her beauty. Oh my fucking god. Oh dear. She's got big thick glasses. She's a little plump woman. The big thick glasses. Her hair looks thick and battered, and she hasn't seen a dick for about 18 years. Jesus Christ. I bet he's got a bush like fucking Amazon and wears pants down to her fucking knees. Jesus Christ. Here's one more photo. Holy what the fuck. I don't really even know how to explain that. There is a lot of woman there. There is a lot of woman. She hasn't got a neck. Her chin is actually in a neck. Now I haven't got I'm not body shaming anyone. How can I body shame the way I look? Fuck me, I look absolutely fucking disgusting. So I'm no better looking than what she is. She's just a female version of the way I look. But you can understand the reason why she wants to be a daughter. So a daughter is a beautiful woman. She is not a beautiful woman, but by going online, she can be the beautiful woman that she always wanted to be. So, yeah, that is Mary. Jessie Schuyler, the original 18-year-old Jessie Schuyler, was completely innocent. She had been entirely weaponized by her own mother to fuel a sick digital fantasy. She had even stolen her daughter's worn underwear and sent them to Thomas. She even got her daughter to pose innocently in bikinis and underwear, to which she would then send both photos to Thomas and Brian. And she even recorded upskirt shots of her own daughter to feed this crazy fantasy she was so deep in. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, I'm not being funny. I mean, everyone, you know, whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. But at the end of the day, worn underwear does absolutely fuck all for me. And upskirt photos, I mean, you get sent to jail for that. And there's a very good reason why, because it's fucking wrong. And it's definitely not fucking something to turn somebody on. I mean, if you're getting turned on by upskirt shots, you know, you need to get a fucking life, go to the gym and get a fucking hobby. Sick fuck. Jesus Christ. But let's get back to the murder of Brian. It didn't take long for the police to trace the IP address of the Marine sniper, and he led him straight to the home of Thomas Montgomery. When he was questioned about the murder, Montgomery told detectives he needed to retrieve his lunch from his car because his peaches would spoil. The cops noted his taste for that fruit. A peach stone, which later tested positive for Montgomery's DNA, had been found next to Barrett's truck. A leather cartridge case with dog hairs that summarised belonged to Shadow was found in the same area. So Shadow is the Montgomery family dog. In addition to Jessie's G-strings at the Montgomery house, Police also unearthed a photo of his gun cabinet containing a .30 caliber rifle, which was now missing from the cabinet. At the time of questioning, Montgomery had no idea he'd been conned by Mary. On the 27th of November, police arrested Montgomery for murder. He denied killing Barrett, saying he'd gone to a local restaurant and arrived home between 10 p.m. and 10 past before the killing took place. When they asked his wife, she said, "Did he fuck? That lying bastard, did he come back that time? He come back a good half hour or more later, the fucking lying bastard." Montgomery's mobile phone record also put him in the vicinity of Dinah Braid at the time of the murder. Furthermore, investigators intercepted a call that he placed to his wife from prison that seems to suggest the cartridge case was his. "Of course there were dog hairs on the cartridge case," he told her. "Didn't she remember the state of my car?" Then there was the matter of the hundreds of pages of correspondence, of dozens of photos he kept on his computer to document and savour every moment of his time with Jessie. It was a digital paper trail showing a man going out of control. Thomas was eventually charged with second-degree murder. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. While in the police station, he was shown a picture of Mary Schuyler and asked if he knew or had ever spoken to this woman. Thomas shook his head and asked why. This was when it was revealed that not only was he catfishing Jessie, Jessie was also catfishing him. And all along, the woman he was talking to and fell in love with and was obsessed over was actually Mary, Jessie's mother. The real Jessie had no clue what the fuck was going on. Thomas went pale and said he felt sick. I think this was when, at the moment, he realised that everything that had happened, the fact someone's dead because of him, the destruction of his marriage and his family, and all the hurt that he caused them, all the hurt that he called Jessie, was all make-believe. Mary, the sneaky fat bitch, never even told Jessie and her husband about everything that was going on. She had a son as well, called Tom or Tim, if I remember right. She never told him anything. When all this was going on, she would say that I've got to go away for a bit. There's been something going on online, and it's something to. She would mix up some bullshit stories. She would just constantly carry on with the lies and deception. And the only way Jessie, her dad, and her brother found out about Mary's fucked up online life was when she googled her mum's name, and the case that her mum mentioned in from New York popped up. So she keeps on lying, all this on the other, saying this and the kids have gone, something's wrong here, something don't add up. Good old Google, or Ask Jeeves, like it might have been back then, popped up. When home, Mary was confronted by a seriously fucked off Jessie and her brother, and also an even more fucked off husband. Mary said she joined Pogo a few years ago to relax and kill some time. It was only after she paid for the membership that she realised she'd used Jessie's screen name. That's bullshit for a start, because if you're making a profile, you've paid for a membership, therefore you have to make a profile, because Jessie would already have a profile on there. So she's not using Jessie's name. She didn't intend for many admirers to fall in love with her, nor did she fall in love with any of them. She says she's happily married to her husband of 23 years. Brian was a sweetheart, and when he initiated the flirtation, she didn't know how to discourage it without revealing her true identity. Tommy, she said, was a child who needed someone to show him they cared. Why did she continue talking to Montgomery once she knew Tommy didn't exist? She said she was worried they would take advantage of a real 18-year-old. I should have just let it go, Mary conceded, but she didn't. And this was then she had to keep up the lie and prevent him from doing harm to himself or later to her own family members. That's a story, more or less, that Mary seems to have told her daughter. She's just a liar. Everything that comes out of her mouth is just fucking lies. She refers to her daughter as a princess. So Montgomery spent the summer awaiting trial at the Erie County Holding Centre in Buffalo. The beefy man in his mugshot had gone. He wore round wire-rimmed glasses, and his orange uniform hung from his now frail frame. He tried to commit suicide in April via stockpiling sleeping pills. after receiving a letter from his daughter stating they wanted nothing more to do with him and the marriage was destroyed. He had no reason to live. Apparently, he lost £100. So I think in the UK we use stone, and that's around 7 stone if I remember right. So this was his picture of him when he got arrested. So that was him. That's his mugshot. So I think he's even bigger there than he was when he had that photo with his wife and kids. So that was his mugshot photo. And when they interviewed him, this is what he looked like. So stop the sharing that one, share this one. And this is what he looked like. No, not that one. Just shows you that one. Fucking idiot, stupid fucking thing. This one. That's Thomas Montgomery in jail. I can see he's a lot slimmer. His face is a lot thinner. He's completely shaved his head now. He's shaved his head now. He's got a big massive bald patch, but he's got like a grade 1. Still got that stupid ginger tash, but he's a lot thinner. And yeah, that's what he looks like now. So yeah, pretty different to his marine photos, eh? I mean, in the day, I mean, you think about it, I mean, there's Tommy there, look. Tommy Jr. Oh, what a sad story. Sad story. So let's rewind the button and let's revisit what's going on then from start to scratch. Thomas was a fat, lip-dicked bastard who had a moustache. He was online pretending to be the super stud with a massive 9-inch thick cock, 18-year-old Tommy Jr. He was speaking, messaging, and he loved a girl called Jessie, who was an 18-year-old virgin, gorgeous, but she was really Jessie's mom, Mary, who was a 45-year-old, small, fat, ugly woman with big satty tits and a huge bush, who hadn't seen a cock in about 18 years. So in reality, if both were to be honest with each other, in the first place, they was perfect for each other. 45, he was 47. Both had some really sick, fucked up fantasies. Both horny as fuck. They'd have been perfect for each other. Thomas Montgomery serving a long stretch in jail. His family refused to ever see him again. Mary's family refused to speak to her. Jessie completely cut ties with her. Her husband got divorced, and her son speaks to her only occasionally. Her son also turns around and says, when he speaks to her or goes over her house, she's just constantly online. She's still online. So everything that she did was built on lies, deception, and she had a huge fuck off cyber sex fantasy by going out with all these people and being someone that she ain't. I mean, how fucked up's that? So surely Mary would have been arrested and done some serious time for this. As end of the day, she was the reason all this happened. But no. There's no laws against catfishing or online impersonation at the time. Mary Shylock was never criminally charged for her role in the escalation that led to Brian's death. She never told Thomas to do it. She never encouraged Thomas to do it. She never even hinted at Thomas to do it. Thomas killed Brian basically because Thomas wanted to. He needed to get rid of him so he could have it all to himself. Mary remained a free woman. She actually had the balls to say to the police in the police station that she was going to write a book about making people aware of who they are online and to be safe online. I mean, she never did do it, but I mean, it's a little bit fucking irony. You know, there's a lot of irony in that. When the award-winning 2009 documentary Tallhotblonde was produced, Shylock refused to appear on camera. She did, however, grant an off-camera audio interview to the filmmakers. She didn't want no one to see her face and know what she'd done. That's the whole reason why she didn't want to be, which is strange because she was a woman who loved and craved attention, and now she's going to get it, she didn't want it. In it, she stated her original motive stemmed from being lonely and bored while her husband was at work and her children were grown. So basically, she was just horny. Well, go online then, type in love honey, Have a look at all those nice, beautiful toys you can pick from. Some vibrate, some big, massive, thick, fat fucking things. Them all different colours, them all different sizes. I mean, they've got ones nowadays. Them actually like clones of porn stars' dicks. I mean, there's some porn stars have got like, some black guys have got like 15-inch, big, massive, thick dicks. Thicker than this Coke can. And it's like 15, so you're talking probably about that long, that thick, that long. And you can actually buy like replica ones of them. Go and get one of them. Or you could read some Jilly Cooper or 50 Shades. There's some of them. Or if you wanted to, you could read my book. My book's got all sort of that stuff in, and you can see if that got you off. It would save someone's life, and not many people would get hurt. So that's the case with the Tallhotblonde. And what a fucked up story that was. Such a shame. I mean, end of the day, I mean, good old Brian, I mean, he was just caught in the crossfire of it. And Thomas was just a bloke who was just obsessed. Just absolutely obsessed. But what really is fucked up about it is, this went on for 2 years. And they never even met in real life. They just carried on. Now, surely, because Thomas actually thought he was in a relationship. He used to call her my girlfriend. And he was going to leave his wife for her. I mean, you're going to leave your wife, break up your family for someone you have never, ever met. It's a strange, fucked up story. Oh, I don't know. Talking about fucked up stories. The World Cup has just finished. And obviously Spain won. Well done to Spain. Played Argentina off the park. It was a good day. Football won, because Argentina was just dirty bastards. Horrible, dirty bastards. And football won in the end. But what I don't understand is, it was in America, and they had this big, massive show. They had the halftime show, which was fucking ridiculous. Absolutely fucking stupid, that was. And you had Tom Cruise at the beginning, giving a big, massive speech about football. But the problem was, he's in America. Now, what I don't understand about this is, in America, right? America play American football. We play, and everybody in the world plays football, which is with your feet. Your Liverpools, your Barcelonas, your Real Madrids, football. Everyone knows football as, it's on the ball, you kick it with your feet, you got to score a goal. But in America, they call football soccer. Now, they're the only people that call it soccer. Everywhere else around the world call it football. And the reason why Americans call football soccer is because in America, football is what we would call in the UK American football. Only problem is, soccer is all about your foot kicking a ball. American football, or if he was lived in America, football is running with the ball. You rarely use your foot to kick the ball. So, and really, let's be honest, only Americans play. Yeah, the UK have got a league, and Germany have got a league, and I think France have got a league. But it's like Sunday morning level. It's like amateur. It's like the amateur of amateurs. There's no money. It's not professional. It's not sponsored or anything. It's just literally just mates going over. It's like when we was kids, we used to have like, shirts for goalposts. It's the same sort of thing. So it's an American thing, just like baseball. Only Americans play. American football, only Americans play. Typical thing. Basketball, okay, it's played around the world, but end of the day, it's an American sport. So, but they call it football, but they rarely use the feet. It's all about throwing the ball, like the quarterback, throwing it, catching it, running as fast as you can. So why is it called football? Why do the Americans call that football when you don't use your foot? Whereas soccer, you use your foot to kick the ball, aka football. It says so in the title, football. Foot to ball. I don't understand that. I really don't understand it. That's one thing that I don't get. So it's strange. I just don't understand it. Never have. Never will. I tried to watch American football once because my dad used to like American football. He used to talk about it, you know. I'll have a look at it. I'll watch about 3 minutes and I was like, fuck this. I have not got time for this at all. They run 5 yards, they celebrate for 10 minutes. And then they run 5 yards again and they celebrate for another 10 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Fuck knows how the Super Bowl's like one of the most watched things in the world. I don't get it. I really don't. I haven't got a clue what the rules are. They all wear shoulder pads. What about rugby players? You know, your John Marlers and you know your James Escall, you know, your Martin Johnsons and your Johnny Wilksons. No, they just wore a shirt and boom. They used to fucking hit each other like anything. America, they've got those all full of pads and helmets. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't. It's A for me. It's just one thing they're A for me. But yeah, that's Tallhotblonde. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of this case. Let me know in the comments if you've seen the video or any of the documentaries. And let me know what you think of the episode. Sad episode, really. You know, a young 22 years of age when he got killed. You know, for no reason. And all because that fat fucking big bush woman, you know, was horny and thought, oh, you know, I'll just go online and pretend to be my daughter. Strange people. But that's it. So what have I done this week? Nothing. What have you watched? The missus, what was the missus watching? There's watching The Dark, and she's watching something, and they said it's really good, but it's really creepy. I can't remember what it's called. I hate to tell you on them. To have a look at it. But something Drake. And she said she come to bed. I took Lottie to bed, and I'd read her a story, and she was asleep, and I was just watching some stuff on my phone. And she comes like, you know, that program's brilliant, but it's fucking creepy as fuck. So, you know, it was one of them sort of things. So she's watched that. I'll find out what it's called. I'll let you know. But nothing else really. Been watching Turner and Hooch. Fucking watched that last night. Turner and Hooch. Tom Hanks and a big fucking dog Bedell. And one thing I was going to get about these films or these programs like K9 and, you know, Beethoven and the stuff. The dog yesterday was running around barking, and you could actually see the picture of the dog wasn't barking, and you could tell that the bark, or even the bark for the right dog, the bark was some fucking chihuahua or something. And this big dog de Bordeaux was a big fucking brick shit house of a dog. You know, at least get the right dog bark for the, you know, get the bark for the dog. But you watch that. I mean, that's one of the films it's got remade. That did for the Disney Channel. It's got the bloke from Drake and Josh, the one who lost all the weight. Josh Belly. Because Drake was the one. Day one of them got caught online wanking to Vanessa Hudgens or something. Sent to a cockpit with him wanking to Vanessa Hudgens. He's the other one from Drake and Josh, the one with the black hair. Like I said, the fat chap who lost all the weight. The remedy. You know, like they do everything nowadays, they remake everything and just fuck it all up, the remakes. I'm going to do an episode on one of them. I said that on my first episode, I was going to do a remake episode. I was going to compare the remakes to the originals. Then work out what was better, the remake or the original. And to be honest, off the top of my head, I can't think of any film that was better than the original. The only ones that come close, Jaws 2. I can't pick out what's better, Jaws 1 or Jaws 2. You know, they're both very, 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 very good films. And the other one was Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick was really, really good. But Top Gun was ahead of its time. And Top Gun Maverick, God, I really enjoyed that film. When he was at the cinema, lucky Mrs. J paid for us to go to the cinema to watch it. And fucking, that was a good film though. I really did enjoy that. But Critters 2 and Critters, that was okay back in the day. Can't really think of many other films where the sequel was better or equally as good as the original. Do you know of any? If you do, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what you think film-wise is better. As a sequel, the sequel was better than the original. I can't think of any off the top of my head. So, but I'll tell you what, I really was much, to be honest. I've been that busy. Like I said, I normally do the podcast on the Sunday, but I just haven't got time lately. It's just work, where work is so busy, so fucking busy. When I come home, I'm absolutely fucking knackered to do anything. The research just takes longer and longer and longer. So anyway, next week, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next week. Like I said, I have got the interview with Brad Thomas. That's been confirmed. He's coming on. He's coming on to talk to us about his book. I don't know when it's going to be. We've just got to try and work out a date. But I think that's going to be that'll be soon. So when we come on, we're also going to do a horror, like a horror special. And I've also got my friend Rebecca. We're going to do an episode together. Again, just got to find times to do it and work out something about that. Future episodes coming up. I listened the other day to Fire in the Sky again episode, Travis Walton abduction, and so that's a possibility, the Travis Walton one. Or I might actually go and do a couple of more true crime, some serial killer ones. I might go into like I going to Jack the Ripper. The Such a Witch Girls did Jack the Ripper not long ago, and I don't want to jump on a steal their thunder. So I might have to do somebody like Dahmer and Gacy and all them. They've been done loads and loads and loads of times. They haven't. Can't really do them justice. Ed Gein, another one, can't really do that because Ted Bundy. You need like a 4 or 5 parter to do that, or ideally someone to do it with and bounce off each other. So you can do so much research and they can, and you can bounce the research off. I asked to look at Mrs. J, but she refuses to come on. And so I might have to try and do like a lower key one, maybe like the Pizza Bomber, the crazy case of Pizza Bomber that's on Netflix, or the Lacey Peterson and a bastard of an husband, Scott Peterson, fucking wanker. That might be one, because I watched the documentary on that. That was fucking hell. Wow, she was a very attractive woman and all. And he fucking killed her for no reason. I was 8 months pregnant with her son, and he fucking killed her, man. Bastard him. You know, so there's that one. Can't think of really any of the more future shows. I've written a load down in my book, so I might have to have a look in there and see if, unless something pops up. But I don't think there's anything really coming out that's grabbing me at the moment. So I might have to go down the thing. So I have got Marilyn Monroe penciled in. I have got O.J. Simpson penciled in to do. I was kind of scratching on the research for that in a minute. Got a few like little things in the fight work. Got the Black Dahlia. That's been penciled that in. And the other one was, what was the other one? The Enfield Poltergeist. But I want to do that with someone. And what was the other one? We got the Black Dahlia, O.J. Simpson, Titanic and Marilyn Monroe. That was it. So I've got them to look at. So I've scratched the surface on all of them. I've had a look and made a couple of notes here and there, and I've been just when I break from when I'm doing my research on like the topic I'm doing for the week. I'll just, you know what, I've got 10 minutes. I'm not going to jump into this because I'll be on it for like fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, like now it's 12:30 now. So sometimes when you get into the research, you get really into it. So I'll just make a note, put a little bit there, save it. There, I'll come back to it afterwards. So I've done that on the few, on Marilyn Monroe, Titanic, Princess Diana, OJ. So I can always get back into one of them if I need to for next week. Or, like I said, if anyone's got any ideas, let me know in the comments a show that you'd like me to do. Like, if you want to come on the show, message me. Come on the show. We'll do a show together. We'll have a laugh. Take the piss out of things. We can do a topic. Do a topic of your choice if you want to do. Or let me know. Tell me what you want to do, and I'll do it. And you can just react to it and throw in your little bit. Or if you want to lead the show, and I can react to your research, I'm glad I'll do that if you want. I don't mind. But yeah, that's it really for today. Oh, by the way, I saw a trailer the other day for, it's called I Play Rocky, and it's the Sylvester Stallone biopic about what happened with Rocky and how he made it. Fuck yeah, you know, the guy who would have got to play Rocky, aka Sylvester Stallone, Jesus, he looks a spitting image of him from like Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, and his voice is exactly the same. They've got, it shows you him doing like the one-arm press-ups in the gym. Carl Weathers, who's playing Carl Weathers, looks like Carl Weathers. He's got that bit when he walks up to the the bar and he's talking to Talia Shea. He puts his arm over like the thing like that, and he's like talking to her, and he's like doing this. Yeah, it's God. That looks really, really good. I've got to admit that looks good. And also, apparently, I've had a thing pop up on my YouTube. The Avengers trailer has been released. So once I finish this, I'll probably have a look at that, and I'll edit this tomorrow because I could be asked to do it today. Especially not the way River fucking Shite's playing up today. It's all over the fucking shop. So I'll probably do this. I'll probably edit this tomorrow night and put it out Wednesday. So, but yeah, I play Rocky. If you want to have a look at something, have a look at that because that looks really good. That looks really good. Even Mrs. J turned around and says, "I think I might have to go and watch that at the cinema." So, yep, sounds good to me. We go and watch that. Go for a curry after. Jobs are good. And that would me. So yeah, I play Rocky. So, and that's it for this week anyway. So, finally managed to get this episode done. We wanted this episode for a while. Like I said, if you do want to watch, get some good feedback on, there is the Talhotblonde documentary. I think you just type in YouTube Talhotblonde. There is actually like a full documentary of it. Or you've got the Cease to Exist Guardian article, which like I said, I'll go a lot of information off there. Of course, and obviously the podcast, so I listen to. Just type in Talhotblonde. Fuck me, there's loads of them. There is fucking loads. It's that big of a case. So yeah. So that's it for this week anyway. Let me know in the comments what you think about the show. Let me know in the comments if you think an episode that you'd like me to do. Just get in touch. I'll see you next week and have a good one.